Thank you again for joining us at Voice of Rohingya Radio. We are a registered nonprofit coming to you from the state of Oregon in the United States of America. I would like to take some time to thank all of our listeners who allow this program to continue providing the latest news through our exclusive interviews, reports from inside the border, and reputable sources from around the world. If you would like to stay up to date with our program, you can find our weekly broadcasts every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Pacific online at youtube.com/VOR radio, or you can join our Facebook page to find more information on our activities and past programs. It is September 21st, 2014. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, I am your host, Zach Taylor. The Director General of the Arakan Rohingya Union, Dr. Waqar Uddin, was invited to attend the United Nations 69th General Assembly at the UN headquarters in New York for 4 days starting tomorrow. Dr. Uddin will be attending a number of meetings at the General Assembly where he will brief the Assembly on the current situation on the ground in Arakan State and the continued plight of the Rohingya people. The DG will also be highlighting some of the most critical issues faced by Rohingya people, such as the issue of citizenship, wherein the government of Burma is poised to disenfranchise Rohingya through categorizing them as naturalized, second-class, or third-class citizens. Secondly, the ongoing atrocities and physical abuse of Rohingya men and women by Burmese forces in so-called citizenship verification programs. Thirdly, the blatant disregard for the roots and ethnicity of Rohingya people by the government of Burma, and the stepping up of its campaign to eliminate the Rohingya identity through persistent attacks on the ethnic name Rohingya. He will also be briefing on the Burmese government's pressuring of UN agencies and several other countries not to accept the name Rohingya. He'll also be talking about smuggling and trafficking Rohingya victims to Thailand and the continued major human rights violations being committed against the Rohingya people in general. In a separate occasion, the DG of the ARU will be meeting with the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC Rohingya Contact Group, which is composed of representatives from Malaysia, Indonesia, Egypt, Djibouti, Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, and Turkey, and the UN and OIC Special Representative to Burma. He is also scheduled to meet with the United States mission to the UN representative, Mrs. Samantha Power, and hopefully with the United Kingdom mission for the UN as well. After the UNGA, he will be heading to Washington, D.C. to brief the situation with the U.S. lawmakers and the U.S. State Department, and will later travel to Europe to collaborate with various human rights group and German-based European Rohingya Council members. When we asked Dr. Uddin about his message to the international community at the United Nations, he responded that he will strongly appeal to the world leaders and statesmen at the UN General Assembly to deal with the government of Burma very firmly, and not to give the government any undue credit before it demonstrates tangible progress in human rights for ethnic minorities, including Rohingya. He added that the government of Burma must show concrete steps in addressing these serious issues, and the international community should not be complacent about usual rhetoric of the government of Burma. Tune in next week when we'll be bringing you updates from the General Assembly in New York. In other news, a mob of about 100 people damaged a house, shop, and mosque on Saturday in Miet Che, a small town near the popular tourist destination of Bagan, after rumors spread that a Muslim man had beaten his Buddhist maid in the latest case of communal violence to hit Burma. Heavy security has been deployed and the situation was reportedly calm as of Sunday night, with no injuries or deaths resulting from the incident. Miet Che sits just across the Irrawaddy River from Bagan, a tourism hotspot known for the thousands of Buddhist temples that dot its plains. According to the witnesses in the town, the angry mob gathered and attacked the town's mosque on Saturday evening, after word spread that a Muslim man had beaten his Buddhist maid after she asked him for her salary. A duty officer from Miet Che police later refuted the rumors that the girl had been hospitalized. The situation is currently under control, with the security presence in the town bolstered by nearby district police. According to the district police office, security forces have been deployed to prevent the potential spread of clashes. The chair of the United Nations Population Fund Committee advising Burma's government on the recent census believes that civil society and rights groups are to blame for the numerous controversies that arose while Burma's census was being conducted, the first such census in over 3 decades. In the lead-up to the census, Human Rights Watch, the International Crisis Group, TNI, and numerous Burma-based civil society groups warned that the census, which compelled respondents to identify their ethnicity using a widely discredited list developed during the Ne Win era, could worsen long-standing ethnic tensions in the country. The UNFPA, led by Country Director Janet Jackson, who apparently was acting on the advice of the chair, chose to ignore the warnings of rights groups and went ahead and provided funding for the census as well as other technical assistance. Whilst the census was being carried out, anti-Muslim riots erupted in Rakhine State, where members of the stateless Rohingya minority were barred from listing themselves by their term of choice in contravention of long-standing international norms. We at Voice of Rohingya Radio would like to take a moment to remember U Kya Hla, who passed away suddenly on Wednesday in Thailand. U Kya Hla was a leading Muslim politician in Arakan State and president of the Thailand-based Burma Muslim Organization, as well as an active member in various other NGOs and a regular listener of our program. Our deepest thanks go to him for his efforts in helping the Muslim community in Burma, and our warmest condolences go to his family. You are listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. Thanks again for listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio, a registered non-profit organization coming to you from the state of Oregon in the United States of America. I am your host, Zach Taylor. Now turning to news from one of our sources on the ground in Myanmar, who is saying that an organized campaign to wipe out the existence of Rohingyas is being carried out by the government with the help from the Rakhine community. The whole Rohingya community has been living in Arakan as hostages with no access to livelihood and education. Humanitarian access has been dramatically cut, and the IDPs are bearing untold suffering. Today, the United States, Europe, and Middle East Arab countries and Turkey are unanimous in fighting against those who commit crimes against humanity. Action against the Islamic State group is being adopted by a coalition of many countries headed by the U.S. government. Extremism, terrorism, and any form of racial extermination committed either by a group or a government should be stopped anywhere, and in Myanmar, state-sponsored terrorism is being carried out against the Rohingya community. A coalition with the ability to exercise rapid action force is imperative in keeping an orderly world. Rohingya villages, one after another in Maungda Township, are being surrounded by border guard police and army forces, while Mekhe Fa conducts population checks with the ultimate aim to enlist Rohingya as Bengali and to document them as non-citizens. Rohingya men, women, and children are on the run to avoid Mekhe Fa, and many are hiding in the hills nearby to avoid the check. Some villages are deserted as nobody has turned out for the check, and all other villages are bracing for the onslaught and are preparing to take shelter elsewhere. All the villages are defying the Mekhe Fa checks and are holding strong against it. Our source also explained that the entire Rohingya community is very grateful about U.S. policy with regards to Rohingya. The recent Senate deliberation about Myanmar has boosted Rohingya morale. Rohingyas are putting hope in the United States government and consider the U.S. to be the only country which has the capability to establish worldwide justice. The leading role now played by the United States government in crushing the ISIS militant group is indispensable for a peaceful region and adds stability to the whole world at large. Rohingyas are hoping this broad-based coalition will give a permanent form to act in other regions where terrorism, oppression, and injustice reign. Rohingyas are hoping that the upcoming visit by President Obama to Myanmar in November will have a good implication on the fate of Rohingyas. Our source concluded that while Myanmar and Rakhines are insisting on transforming Rohingya into Bengalis, a clear-cut answer is needed from the United States side. The Rohingya are there and will be there, and inalienable citizenship rights will be guaranteed. In other news, an anti-Muslim song is heightening tensions in the town of Sandawe. Local authorities in the town have failed to take action against a bus station owner who has been playing the anti-Muslim anthems on the terminal's loudspeaker system. A high-ranking member of the town's religious protection group who spoke to DVB Media on the condition of anonymity said the bus station owner, a Buddhist, has continually played the song Construct the Fences with Bones, which contains lyrics calling for a boycott of Muslim businesses every day since the 11th of September. The song includes lines such as, "We will be faithful to our race, language, and religion. We will buy goods only from the shops of our own creed." The bus station owner is a member of the Buddhist nationalist group 969 and was arrested last year in connection with the burning down of 2 villages. Sandoe has been a peaceful multicultural city for centuries and has a sizable Muslim population. However, following waves of mob violence in Arakan State beginning in June of 2012, the town was hit by 3 days of communal riots which left 5 people dead and 5 others injured. A group of ethnic Rakhine residents of Rakhine State capital Sitwe has written to President Thein Sein to tell him that they do not want any, quote, Bengalis resettled near them, and that those awaiting resettlement should be sent to other states and regions of the Union, not just Rakhine. The letter notes that the Rakhine State Development Implementation Committee has drafted an action plan for the state that includes resettlement of people in camps for internally displaced persons. Most of the ethnic Rakhine victims of the 2012 violence have been resettled, but most of the Rohingya displaced by communal violence remain in IDP camps, which have been described as inhumane, squalid, and deplorable by numerous international experts on resettlement in camps for IDP or refugees. The letter says that ethnic Rakhine peoples do not want Bengalis resettled near them, and that the 2 groups must be kept separate. The resettlement of Bengalis, as the letter refers to Rohingyas, is a national issue, adding that all Myanmar people must do their share in solving woeful situations, such as the resettlement of IDPs. Thanks again for listening to Voice of Rohingya Radio. You can catch every broadcast Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Time here in the United States at youtube.com/VOR Radio, or you can join our page on Facebook to find more information on the program. For Voice of Rohingya Radio, this is Zach Taylor, signing out.